What's up, everybody? Welcome to the after show, but later. This is your boy D, and I am joined today by one of the world famous Carls, and his name is actually Carl. One thing you texted me about tamales.
Oh man. See, okay, so I'm half Hispanic. My mom, her maiden name is Sandoval, and from southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. So I grew up with a very distinct type of food. You know, it's not Mexican food, it's not Tex-Mex, it's not Sonoran, it's New Mexican. You know, and we all share the same types of foods. The tamales and burritos, tacos, all that. But when they I can't remember who it was. Was it Miguel that had called?
Yeah.
Now when he was
The
talking
only reason I know that is because I was listening back to the shows today.
yeah,
The next day, Covino goes, fellas, when you're eating tamales,
yeah.
fellas. So I know it was Miguel.
So yeah, like when he was talking about frying it, browning it, I was like, but man, that Tex-Mex stuff, just leave it in Texas, man. If I don't eat a tamale plain, it's got to have red chili in it, man. Red chili and cheese, and 9 times out of 10, I'm putting a fried egg on top of it, or whatnot. That's where it's at for me, man.
Yeah.
Not big on the salsa thing.
No, and see, what I'll do is like 99% of the time, I'm eating a tamale just by itself. Nothing on it, maybe a little salt, but that's all. And, if there is maybe like some salsa that my mom made or something or whatever, or my grandma or whatever, I'll throw a little bit on there sometimes, but it's very rare that happens because, Rich actually started off the conversation with, what do you put on a tamale? And I was like, to me, that should have been an easy conversation. You don't put anything, and then move on, I don't know. I've never known people and maybe it's because they didn't grow up eating them or something like we did, but it's just like you have tamales. That's your and I'm a Covino when it comes to condiments. I will throw sauce on anything. But when it comes to tamales, that's just the way you eat them. It's like you don't put. I can't think of something that you don't put anything on, but it's just like you just don't. It's a tamale. That's how it's supposed to be eaten.
Especially if they're fresh.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, especially when they're fresh. Oh my God. Yeah.
We'll do 4 or 5 dozen. During this time of year, and we'll freeze them and stuff, and usually after they're frozen and then you recook them again and stuff, they kind of fall apart. The masa gets kind of crumbly and stuff, and that's when I'll make up chili, and we'll do them chili over styles, kind of how the term we use for it or whatever, and whatnot. But the thing that I find funny is Rich just discovering this, because he's been married to Sarah for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I know tamales are, they're big all over the Southwest. It's like sometimes I just shake my head and I'm like, really, man? You're just now coming on board with it? Dickie come lately, have you ever been down to that part of Texas?
No, I've never been to Texas at all.
It's different, man. The food, they use a lot of cumin and stuff, spices and stuff, and it's totally different. I've even had a hard time coming to Arizona with the flour tortillas. We typically make our own tortillas just because they're so different. The taste is so different than what I'm used to. I work back into New Mexico, and I bring back all kinds of stuff. I'm always bringing back, corn tortillas and, all kinds of stuff just because it's what we both grew up there and that's what we're used to and stuff. But, Arizona food too, it's a lot different than California and even Texas. That northern Sonoran is very unique.
Know that when it comes to flour tortillas, I don't know if it's because we're like 10 minutes from the border one way, and we're like 30 minutes from the border if you take a different route or whatever.
Yeah.
And we have family that's always going down there, and coming back with like dozens of like corn tortillas and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, like flour tortillas are the way to go. As far, like homemade flour tortillas,
Yeah.
But it's so like I literally, if I'm gonna eat flour tortillas, I have to have like there's like a few places where we can get them from that are actually like edible. Other than that, like if you're getting like those like Guerrero tortillas or
Where
like
they're like real greasy.
they're thick, and they're like
Yeah.
they're more of like a wrap than even a tortilla. And like
Yeah. That's
and
like,
they're to me, if they don't, if they're not homemade, they need to taste homemade.
yeah.
If it's like a big ass thick white tortilla, like like literally big thick, like almost like pizza dough looking,
Yeah.
like that, I can't do that. I can't do that. And like my girl can eat any tortilla. She's like, a tortilla is a tortilla. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, my dad was born in Mexico. We don't do fucking Walmart tortillas,
I'm a little bit picky on what I get. What I don't like is like the ones that the burrito shops use, and they're like almost translucent from all the manteca they use in them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they just don't have the texture and the flavor, that
it's funny because my sister and myself, we actually, I don't know if it's some kind of like gluten intolerance, or there's something in those like fake ass like Taco Bell tortillas, that's what I call them, that if we eat them, we physically get sick. Like I'll physically vomit.
Something like that.
I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. I just know that I say the reason I can't is because they're gross, But it's not even that they're, because I can eat it. Like I've eaten like a Taco Bell burrito, and then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh, and I fucking throw up. I just can't. There's something about those, whatever the fuck they put in those fake ass tortillas. I can't do, But I'm trying to see, was there anything else you had from the week as far as like besides tamales?
They had a really good show this week. I know a lot of guys got annoyed kind of with the boxing talk and stuff, and I'm kind of I'm not a serious fight fan, but I know the names and stuff, and I could give two fucks less about this Jake Paul stuff. To me, it's cringeworthy. I don't find any entertainment in it. I do want to check out that Joshua fight tonight, and then there was a pretty good UFC card on, tonight and stuff, and I enjoyed, some of the boxing talk, and man, there was I was laughing when Rich was telling the story about selling the dishwasher or something, or couldn't turn the water
off. You know what? I have two notes on my notes here about that. I have one, it says Rich selling appliances, and the other one says Rich dishwasher. Yeah, and it was funny because what made me laugh about that is how Rich was the one who pointed out that his wife was the one who said, wait, shouldn't we be like, turning something off as far as like the water, and so she was the one who actually even brought it up. I'm like, at least they had that warning where they were kind of like, oh, if we open this valve, this might, water might go everywhere.
And I've been doing some work on some older houses for some people here. I'd kind of talked to Johnny earlier this year, about getting licensed and stuff in Arizona as far as contractors go. I'd like to have something to fall back on. And what I got kind of dicey job wise, and stuff. So I kind of got in with the lady that we had bought our house through, and doing some, and you get into some of these older houses and things are different, man. A buddy of mine, he just had to redo the plumbing in his house, and they thought it was stemmed in one way, and there was actually 2 points in the house where they actually had a water main coming in. So even after he got one end capped off, he still had a water source and had to tear up a wall and stuff. And there was that's why there's codes and stuff now. So stuff is more uniform. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, and just I love hearing him talk, about doing this renovation stuff and when we all know, that Sarah is the one that has the reins on this project and stuff. It's just,
Yeah.
I get a real kick out of it. And then,
Rich keeps saying that they're starting construction, and he's like, well, we'll be able to move in like April. And being somebody who did, when I worked with Jonathan, we did a lot of construction and flooring and I mean, drywall, whatever the hell. But there was, I don't see it being April that they're going to move in. I don't.
When he was first talking, he said, yeah, this contractor, he makes sure he has everything to get the job done, make sure he has the countertops. If he does it like that and they don't run into any like weird permitting problems or anything, yeah, he could probably see April, but I'll take May or June, man.
Yeah. I'm thinking,
how that stuff goes.
Yeah, no, it just, I just feel like, especially like with how much work they're going to be doing, I don't know how old the house is. I'm thinking if it's a little newer, and I'm thinking the last 20 years, then I don't think he'll run into as many problems. But if it gets a little older than that, I just feel like,
just from comments he's made, it sounds like it was probably built in the late 50s or early 60s. And just kind of, my sister she's just bought a house. Well, not bought, but she was looking to buy a house kind of in that area and stuff. And a lot of that stuff is kind of that mid-century construction, late 50s, early 60s, when Southern California was really booming and stuff. So he shouldn't have a lot of issues. I think, he keeps talking about wanting to raise roofs and stuff. And you get into that engineering stuff, man. And it's like, there is limit, it's not just cut the roof out and, hang new drywall up, there's, so I kind of laugh at that stuff. And then, poor Covino over there and his
death mansion.
Well, and I got to thinking about that. He was talking about the neighbors complained that there was a leak, and now he's talking about this gap in the grout, and what it's like. Well, if he's got a leak and it's been leaking under there and they've been using it, is that tub settling? Is the water damage underneath bad enough where the floor is deteriorating underneath? And
you think Covino's gonna fall through like in a 90s sitcom?
Dude, you got me like Money Pit, when he falls through the hole in the second floor, I feel sorry for
Covino's hand come up at the tub, looking at the neighbor. It's gonna be that old lady. Oh man, for real, that's how.
I feel sorry for that poor guy, man, because he seems like he's got that black cloud that just follows him around sometimes, and he does everything right, and checks all the boxes and everything, and then he gets there and it's like there's a whole nother list of things that didn't get checked off.
It actually is talking about that. Going on that same note, it's funny because we were talking about Rich selling his appliances, and Covino was like, "You sold all of them," and Rich is like, "Yeah," and he's like, "In one day," and Rich is like, "Yeah, we sold the fridge, the dishwasher, this," and I just felt so bad because Rich, was breaking his balls well, it's because you're like, oh, I love this table. I'm gonna sell it for $1,000 or whatever.
Oh, dude.
I'm sure there's some element of that in it, but at the same time, I just feel like Covino has a rougher time with everything. I don't even want to say with selling things, with life. I just feel like he's blessed in so many ways, but there's just so many freaking hurdles.
Yeah, he's got another element to deal with, and that's just I feel sorry. It's like you hear him start, it's like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy, and talking about it. Did you catch any of the conversation about his bike and all the guys giving him shit and stuff about that? Dude, here's my thing about it. He's buying a bike to go ride with his daughter. It's not like he's gonna go be doing downhill with it and stuff. It's a perfectly fine bike for what he's gonna do.
I had seen your comment where you had said if you're looking for like, you know, better gears and stuff, then buy something new.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the only thing to me, I'm like, if somebody, you know, gave me that bike, or if I bought it for like $100, I'd be like, yeah, that's dope, you know. But I think what was so funny, and Covino was, you know, bagging on himself, but how he said like there's something about his old eyes that see that shit as like the dopest bike of all time, you know. And looking at it honestly, like I wouldn't, I didn't, I still at this like very moment, I don't know the words I'm looking for, but it's not like an old man bike, but it's not ugly, it's not, but at the same time, it's not like if I saw it, I'd be like, dude, that shit is dope, you know?
See, yeah, you know, I have 2 mountain bikes. I have a full suspension that I bought from a guy in Flagstaff, you know, that I, you know, if I'm going to go like trail ride, I'll go do a little trail riding or something. But for when I work, I bought an older Specialized in Belen, and I bought this bike in Albuquerque for like $40, and it's that same style, you know, that Covino was talking about. And then here's the only thing that my concern with buying that is, when I got this bike, the bearings were wore out in it. It needed a chain. So I went and I bought all these parts, and I'm like modernized it. You know, I put disc brakes on it and everything. So I, you know, hopefully it's all, you know, in good condition where he's not going to have to start, you know, cranking money into just to be able to ride this older bike, you know, where it's not just wall art. And, you know, with the luck he has, you know, that's a very good possibility and situation he got himself into. So, yeah, it makes good for good radio for us, you know.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, that the trouble that he's been having with his neighbors and shit, like, I'm like, yeah, it makes for good radio, but you feel so bad for him because you're like,
I really do, because I've been fortunate, you know. We had some, when I lived in New Mexico, we had, you know, some neighbors that were some issue and stuff, but we've never had nightmares like that. And where I'm at now, you know, we've had good luck and stuff, and that's a bummer when you spend a bunch of money for something like that, and then you can't even walk across the house in shoes without someone complaining about it. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah. No, thank God. I mean, we live in an apartment right now, and thank God we have like we've been very fortunate that, you know, I don't want to jinx it, but we've been very fortunate as far as like the neighbors and stuff. And there's just, I mean, I know like a few apartments down, there's like younger people, they're like in their 20s and they're always partying and stuff, but I don't even see them getting complaints or nothing. So I mean, I think everybody's pretty relaxed where I'm at, and I thank God, because man, that I couldn't imagine like my daughter, you know, freaking jumping around or rolling on the floor and then getting a knock at the door like, hey, shut up, or you know, like, or people hitting their, you know, because we live on the second floor, people freaking hitting their broom up at the, you know, floor, our floor, their roof, you know. Like, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine that, you know.
I haven't lived in an apartment since I was like 23, you know, and I couldn't imagine going back to that type of lifestyle, especially with kids, you know. Just I couldn't do it, you know. But you know, he seems happy otherwise, you know, whatnot, and he'll get through this just like he does everything else, man. I just hope after the bathtub thing that he doesn't have any more issues, because
I just hope he don't fall through his floor.
Oh man, that's and then damage all their stuff and whatnot, and so.
Well, this week I just wanted to talk about the guest they had this week, which was Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
So I kind of, because the last couple days I kind of skipped over that interview. She just didn't really kind of seem that interesting to me, so I was kind of in a rush to kind of finish the show.
Did you catch when Rich called her Kelly?
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness, that's what I wanted to talk about.
I'll have to go back and check that out, because I could.
So they're talking, and Rich
context, like you see someone. I'm sure this has happened to you, Kelly. Tiffany.
Jeez. That's right. I told you he wouldn't recognize you with blonde hair. I told you.
I told you. He doesn't recognize.
Yeah, he
Well,
calls her Kelly. And they were talking about at the beginning how Rich can't separate people from their character or whatever.
well, especially with a character like hers, because yeah, she had done some stuff afterwards, but nothing like as attention grabbing as that role was for her, and how dominant that role was. So I could see, I would probably make a mistake like that,
Yeah, I would probably, it would be like a Freudian slip where it'd be
Yeah,
accidentally on purpose,
yeah,
because it's like, I think and for Rich, it probably was like, there's maybe 0.1% of him in the back of his mind where he was like, I'm talking to Kelly Kapowski, like,
exactly. That 12-year-old Rich comes out, and it's like it just happens. Like,
yeah, it was just so funny because
in fact, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to that.
yeah, I'm
That part of
thinking
the
it's
interview.
towards the end of it if you don't want to sit through a whole interview, but yeah, it's so funny. And it cracked me up because I was like, that has to be so freaking embarrassing, like, I don't know, but no. And
So
then go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, do you listen to the best ofs when he downloads them to
Like to like the podcast.
yeah, to the podcast at all?
I'm subscribed to the podcast and I download them just so they can like get a few downloads. I don't listen to them though.
I do every now and then. There was a little bit of drama about, I think it was
Rocket Dog, I think.
Rocket Dog, yeah, had made a post or something about, and it got kind of
Spot was like, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, he kind of got a little sand in the vag there, and it was kind of funny. But yeah, I'd always kind of noticed that, that it was always a little bit behind. But they're always, he does such a good job on the editing and the clips he pulls and stuff. I will go back, like, I'll watch the best ofs. I'll download the best ofs every now and then, and I've even gone back a couple times and listened to all the years and stuff, just kind of refreshing and just kind of remembering what was going on at that time. It's they really do, do such a great show that it's hard to, shit on them for anything, but it's kind of funny when it does happen, and they take light to it, so.
Yeah, no, well, when it comes to their best ofs, what I've been thinking about is because I do download them from Apple Podcasts or whatever. And throughout the week, if we're gonna do a show like this, like if I'm gonna do an after show with like you guys, I like to take notes, throughout the week or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I've been thinking about doing is actually listening to their best of, even though I download them, I don't listen to them. Go ahead and actually listen to that and base my notes only from the best of, because if that's what they're thinking is the best shit of the week,
yeah,
then I think it's worth giving it a listen,
I actually tried to do that this morning, but I don't think they had uploaded it yet, or because it wasn't showing on the app yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd kind of looked, and historically they kind of come out on Saturdays. But yeah, I was kind of thinking along that same lines, because it kind of makes it easier, if you're prepping for a show and whatnot, to kind of go back and hit that real quick. And just what I did too is what I like about when you download the show on that, the way they break down each segment, you can kind of see what's happening in that segment and kind of click on it and listen to it and
Mm-hmm.
Go through. That's kind of what I did, last night, just kind of, refreshing on a couple things and stuff, and go back and listen to that segment. So, here we are.
No, one of the things I can't wait. I don't know if they're ever at this point going to get back in studio, but I don't know what it was that reminded me right now as you were talking about Archie, and I'm just like, I really miss Archie being on the show.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing yesterday. Because he's almost like a naive type innocent.
Yeah. Like you can hear him kind of giggle, like
yeah, it's hilarious. And I liked Jake too, but Jake didn't have that aspect to him like Archie does. It's just I like having Archie on the show, and I like listening to him and stuff. And I thought he was a good addition. They've always had good, co-producers or interns and stuff. They've always lucked out. And look where a lot of these guys have gone. Like Shannon. Shannon is a testament to what she learned from them, because she's great.
Yeah, and honestly, you saying that, it kind of it saddens me, because I know there's going to be a day when Archie leaves.
Yeah.
And I feel like we lost a year of Archie in all of this.
I know it. Do you listen to Rich's podcast at all? With
I was going to ask you that. I've listened to. I probably missed the last like 4, but since they're 20 minutes, or 25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I go out. I can knock them all out in like a day.
Yeah, I go back. I'll listen to those as just like fillers.
Yeah, same here.
She is so freaking hilarious, man. With like her sense of humor and stuff, and
what made me laugh, it's funny because like I think now we're so celebrities and stuff are so like we get to see them more as normal people with social media.
Yeah.
Right? But if this would have been like 15 years ago or whatever, and you would have heard like, oh, Nicole Ryan from the Morning Mashup,
Mm-hmm.
you would think like she has these billions of dollars and this and this. Well, one of the last shows I listened to was where she was talking about her husband with his makeshift squatty potty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And when I heard that he like pulls like the hamper or whatever, or some little wastebasket, puts his feet on it, that made me laugh so hard, because like when I hear that, I'm like, they're like real people, which it's weird to me that they're normal people,
we put them up on that pedestal, and
but her husband's over here putting his feet on their wastebasket. That's like the funniest shit to me in the whole world, because I'm just like literally like they could just buy a squatty potty, but he's like, nah, fuck that, I'm just gonna use my wastebasket.
Well, and it was funny in that show too is she goes at him hard, at Rich. It is hilarious, because she just calls it like it is, man, and just tells him, you're so damn annoying.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm like, I guess it's a testament of their relationship as far as like Rich and Sarah and all that. But I know he's joking, but he's joking, but he's not joking. We're like, Nicole will start bagging on him, and then he's like, oh yeah, in the early 2000s, you wanted me to bang you, and he'll throw those out there,
and she does too, it's pretty funny, and I think I think it's also a testament to just the kind of guy that Rich is, and the kind of person that he really is. I don't think he's as big of a buffoon as they try to play him off to be and stuff. And I actually met a guy that went to high school with them, and knew the family and stuff. He worked in a deli and stuff, and we've had conversations about it and stuff, and just never has anything like bad to say, or just.
He went to school with Rich.
Yeah, he was from Franklin Park and stuff, and they're actually, I think how I found out was he had my buddy Ray had posted something, and I tagged Rich in it because it was about Franklin Park or something, and Ray texted me. He's like, "How do you know him?" And I was like, "Oh, but this, blah blah blah." He's like, "No shit." He's like, "Yeah, I worked at the deli down the street from where they lived, and his dad was always coming in, so
that's cool.
He was telling me about his dad. He's like, yeah, dude, back in the day, his dad, he was like, he looked like Kevin Bacon, and he said they used to call him,
that is so funny.
It was hilarious. This guy, he's my insurance agent now, and whatnot. So he'll always throw something my way, and he'll say something, tell Rich this, or he'll tag us both in something, on Rich's page or something.
That is cool, man.
Yeah, it's
small world.
It really is, man.
That's
it really is. So that was kind of a cool aspect, and this happened about a year ago when I found out or whatever that they knew each other and whatnot. And it's, Rich doesn't put on much of a show. It's, what you see is what you get. And I think
exactly.
it's with both of them.
That's one thing that, and I'm like, yeah, I like to bag on Rich because he's an easy target. But
Yeah.
But honestly though, like that's one thing that I think is really cool is that he doesn't like bullshit like about like he'll tell like Nicole like, oh yeah, you wanted to bang me back in the day, haha. Like that shit where I'm like, I feel like that'd be a little line crossing like in my relationship to be telling like
Right.
like even like any of my old friends or whatever. Like but for him that's just who he is, and that's just like take it or leave it. That's kind of like
part of his charm.
yeah. But no, that's honestly that's really cool that you have a buddy that knew them back in the day like that. That's I don't know, to me that's really cool because like that must be a trip for him to see like Rich, and if he does listen to the show he hears about Greg and
Oh yeah. He says he listens every now and then and whatnot, and yeah, it's just it's someone from someone else's past that just by chance ends up where this guy, he married a girl I went to high school with and stuff, and
yeah
was family church friends, type of deal and stuff. It's just like, who would have even thought, man? Just, and it's just like, well, even like there's another Carl that lives here in Flagstaff. We grew up in the same town together, and we were working together one night and just kind of started talking, and he's always listening and stuff too. We worked together and grew up with the same people and stuff. Shout out to Fred.
yeah
But it's you start talking to guys and stuff. It's funny how really small the world gets, especially this day and age with all this and social media and everything. It's not as big as it once was.
It's funny that you say that you have there's another Carl in Flag. There's actually somebody who he's the photographer on campus, right? On campus that I work for. And he's married to my old teacher from high school. Well, anyway, that was a long story, but my sister one day, his name's Craig, right? He's a Carl. And my sister one day, she texted me and she goes, hey, Craig's a Carl? And I go, what? And she goes, yeah. She goes, Craig's a Carl. And I go, how do you know? And she was like, she saw him, or they were out somewhere or whatever. And he was like, hey, you're Carlita? And she goes, what? And he was like, yeah, you listen to the show. And then after that, he was like, oh yeah, I had known him on like a first name basis, and he had never known like my last name or whatever. So he was like, oh yeah. So then my sister's like, yeah, my brother's, Daniel, of course, Daniel Fitz, whatever. And he's like, oh, you know what? He was like, I never put the two together. So then he like emailed me or something, or I don't know what. We started talking about it. And it's a trip because I remember one day I had texted them. I don't know what Rich did. And I was like, oh, that's some white people shit, And of course, Covino read it. And then Rich was like, oh, like, fuck you, Daniel, this and this, whatever. And, Rich was all mad. Well, that day, it literally was like 15 minutes after that, we had to go get our office like portrait, right? So we walked down there. My supervisor, she's the director of my department, right? And we're walking or whatever. We get there and he looks at me and he goes, hey. I go, hey, what's up, Craig? He's like, some white people shit or what? And I was like, I was like, I was like, damn it. I was like, I'm over here. I'm like, I try not to get fired,
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't get to listen live very much. Just because it's so much more convenient for me just to download and listen to it. So I've got to interact, a few times, and I will text in and stuff, but that's one aspect I do miss, not having a lifestyle where, I can listen live and stuff. And cause it is kind of cool getting to interact with them and getting your balls busted by one of them because something you put out or something. So
yeah, I feel like I think Covino likes me. Pretty sure Rich hates me. I think Spot's a little indifferent. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Rich getting upset, and I don't even know if it was you that had someone from Yuma had texted something, and I think you talked to Johnny about it, but he got all pissed out. Rich got all pissed off. That guy, he don't know what the hell he's talking about, or he doesn't fucking know, or whatever. But I don't even think it was you that was.
I usually sign my shit, so like it'll say it's me. So if I'm saying, hey Rich, like you're a fucking moron, I'm gonna stand by it. I don't want to be those people that are like,
right,
not that have the egg as their picture on like Twitter, and so
I'd called in one time and told him that there was some times that I just wanted to choke him through the radio because he was going off on something stupid.
Yeah,
it was when the show was in the afternoon,
mm-hmm.
Way back when, and I'll kind of chuckle about that every now and then because I'll hear another caller call in and say, Rich, you're just being dumb. Or
No, it's funny. My I'll wonder. I'm gonna put it in here, so listen to it after. But my buddy hit me up the other day, and he was like, "Dude," he goes, "Do you have that clip of you about your Deez Nuts joke that you did to Rich?"
We've been on hold forever. We love Daniel Javier Fitz. He has a question. Let's move on.
Well, I just wanted Rich to help me and my sister settle a debate.
Okay, perfect. Is it about O-Town? Because Rich will help. If it's about O-Town, I'll know. If it's about Maroon 5 or anything gay, this guy knows because I'm the lamest. What's up, bud?
Yeah, no, actually, it has to do with religion.
Okay.
And I know Rich doesn't practice it anymore, but my sister swears up and down that Rich grew up Jewish, and I say that Rich grew up Catholic. I just want to know who's right.
I'm sorry you held for that whole time for that. It won't happen again. I was raised Catholic.
Catholic, these nuts!
I didn't see that coming. Yeah, bro. Yo, Daniel. Catholic, these nuts.
What up?
Hey, Daniel. Got him. You fucking got me. Fuck.
My buddy hit me up, and he was like, dude, that shit was so funny. He was like, I can't believe I heard it live because my buddy will listen live, from time to time. That happened to be one of the times that he had waited on, or was listening while I was on hold and shit, and then I got to say it. But there was something else I was gonna say about Rich, or about the Carl. Oh yeah, that's actually, it's funny that you said you listen like on demand or whatever, and Jonathan had told me, and this is going back like months ago, where he had told me if he doesn't get to listen live, he won't listen at all because he wants to interact,
Yeah.
So that's one of the things where people are like really like they like the interactive portion of it,
Yeah, and I like a lot of the guys that call in, Black Adam. I like when he calls in, or like Miguel, or Blind Brian, he'll just kind of bring in something random or something, it brings a cool aspect to the show that, they really are like a live podcast, like they said, it's cool, that they are that interactive and that, accepting of the listeners, us, because there's not a single person out there that does a big podcast or show or anything that interacts like they do.
Yeah. And
out of the shows that I listen to anyway.
No, it's weird because I don't know if they like spoiled us, me especially, because they do read a lot of my shit, and I'm very grateful for that. But it's something that when I started to listen to like Rogan and Fighter and the Kid and all that, it sounds like kind of dumb, but I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it as much because I wasn't able to interact. And it's just that thing where you want to, like you said, you want to choke Rich through the radio. But the thing about that is you can actually call him and tell him, you could write on his Facebook wall, Rich, I fucking hate you. I love you, but I hate you. Or, you could text them like, like, Spot, I can't believe you have muscles now, and Spot will text you back, you know, like, that's just something that I think really, really sets them apart from everybody.
Yeah, no, definitely, you know, and it's I hope it's something that doesn't ever change, because there is some knuckleheads out there that, you know, push it every, you know, now and then, or, you know, start attacking, you know, their family members or whatever. And man, just be cool, you know.
Yeah.
They're cool with us, you know, be cool with them. Don't be a douchebag.
No, I completely agree. Let me know how you're doing on time. If you need a bounce, let me know.
Yeah, you know, I can feel I'm kind of starting to lose my voice a little bit. So, you know,
Cool.
if you
Well,
want
there was just one thing that I wanted to talk about before we wrap it up. I don't know if you heard them talk about the Wayne's World.
Yeah, I did.
Thing.
Did you watch that? Have you watched any of those at all?
I watched I watched one before the Wayne's World one. I don't remember which one it was. Might have been like a Back to the Future or something. It was one of those. But the Wayne's World one I watched a couple of days ago. And did you end up catching that or no?
No, I haven't really caught any of them. I just kind of catch you know, small segments or whatever that people post or whatever, about it. You know, I did catch his comments, you know, kind of like it just wasn't his cup of tea.
Yeah. No, one of the things that I mean, I loved Wayne's World. I watched it as a kid.
I was a big Wayne's World fan.
That was like, I mean, I watched it. I got more into it like in my late teens, early 20s, and I would watch it like this. I'd watch that shit on repeat, you know.
Yeah.
And so this was actually something that surprised me, because I know that Mike Myers and Dana Carvey kind of had like a little beef. And it was cool to see them like kind of put that shit aside for this, you know. And they were kind of even. It was basically like a gigantic Zoom call, right? But to see them interact and kind of put their beef aside for a minute and just be like, you know, let's reminisce, I thought was super cool of them. One of the things that Covino and Rich mentioned that Rich kept saying, oh, it's aging or whatever. But one of the things that they mentioned was like how bad, and Covino was like, I'm not trying to be mean, but how bad and how different the women of the movie looked. They, again, I'm not trying to be mean either. They looked like shit. Like, you know, God forbid, or God forgive me, but they looked, the only way I recognize them is because as they were talking, they'd put up like a little picture, like right here, of them from the movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch any of that, man. Some of these chicks have gone way overboard with, you know, and there's a real
that's
problem.
what Covino and Rich were talking about, though. They were talking about the reason why these chicks look so bad is because all of the work that they've done to themselves, you know?
And it's that Hollywood society, you know, that pushes these ideals and stuff, you know, on these actors and it's actors and actresses, you know, it's crazy. Yeah, no, I really didn't catch any of that. I guess it really didn't appeal to me. I really haven't caught any of them just because, you know, it's.
Yeah, this one. I mean, if you have, since you're home, if you have some time, I think it's worth a watch. I'm a big nerd for like behind the scenes shit, so I'll watch like shit on like, like do you watch or listen to the Flagrant 2 podcast?
No.
Okay, it's with Andrew Schultz and this other dude. I forget what his name is, but I literally the other day, might have been last night or the day before, I watched a behind the scenes of them building the set. You know?
Okay.
So that's the kind of shit, like, I love all kinds of that kind of shit, you know?
So, since you kind of like that genre, have you ever listened to How This Got Made?
I don't think so. I think
it's with a couple of the guys from the league, and they go and they pick movies and they kind of dissect the movies and kind of talk about, you know, certain scenes and how they were done or why they did it this way, or and then they'll do others where it's just like why the hell would they even make this? type of deal. I'll send you a link to a couple
Yeah,
of
no,
other ones I've listened
definitely
to.
do that because I did watch something on Netflix that was similar where they talked about like Home Alone and that kind of shit.
Yeah, and then Derek Poston's podcast. Have you listened to it at all? The Spoil the
I
Beans?
did. I listened to a couple of times, but more than a year ago. I didn't even know he was still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing. Him and Hassan are still doing it. I'll listen to a suit because the way he breaks down a movie, because he'll watch the movie and take notes on it and stuff. And like when he was doing Platoon, watch the one or listen to the one where he does Platoon, dude. He does such a great job of breaking down those movies, and it's like you can almost see it scene for scene in the when you describe it. And I listen to stuff like that and stuff, but I'll have to check out that Wayne's World one because I actually was I remember I'm old enough. I remember the Saturday Night Live skits and stuff, and that was like really big, when it came out, and Tia Carrera, and Kim Basinger.
I fell in love with Cassandra when I was like 19.
And something that kind of, I thought that they were more like college kids.
That's what Rich had said.
And when they were saying, no, these were like high school, they were like high school. It kind of threw me for a loop because, I'd always thought, they were like college freshmen or something. I didn't really think of them, in that. And I want to go back and watch the movie now with that kind of
that in mind.
That in mind, because it might change, the aspects of it, how I viewed it and stuff. And I thought that was kind of a neat tidbit that they had brought up.
Yeah, no,
during their conversation about that. Because I do remember that when he was talking about something about Garth got his first pube or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was more of like a late bloomer joke. But if it's not a late bloomer joke, it brings a whole different aspect to the joke, and where it falls in line with the...
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I want to go back and check it out like that from that perspective, knowing now, that they were young, they were in high school or whatever. So I'm definitely going to check it out, but it's definitely, I think it's worth the watch. One of the things that kind of sucks is like for us that, grew up watching it and, we can quote it and, there's things that you can quote, they go over a couple of lines, famous, lines from the movie. And one of the ones that, Mike Myers and I forget what the chick's name is, they're going over where she buys him a gun rack, and honestly, it kind of like, I don't want to say it ruined it for me, but just the way, like, they have, the script and they're like reading it. And when Mike Myers says, he goes, "It's a gun rack." He goes, "I don't even own a gun." And I'm like, no, I'm like, on Wayne's World, he's like, "I don't even own like he emphasizes the gun.
Gun.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I don't even fucking own one. Like that's how he emphasizes the I don't even.
Let alone miniguns that would necessitate a rack.
A rack, yeah. So on this, when he goes like, "I don't even own a gun," like I'm like, no, you need to emphasize a gun. Like that's just me being a Wayne's World nerd,
Yeah.
I'm just like, but
did Alice Cooper do the Milwaukee scene?
I don't remember. But it's funny because Alice Cooper in the show, he's got the background says Delaware. Remember where they're like changing the backgrounds or whatever?
Yeah.
So that shit's funny. They have but it's pretty good though. It's worth the watch. It's like an hour long. So
have you ever been to his restaurant in Phoenix?
No.
It's
I know he had he lived in Tucson or something, right? Or he had a house in Tucson?
He may have had a house in Tucson, but I think he's like originally from Phoenix, and then he'd opened that restaurant downtown by the Arizona Center like a long time ago. It's been open for as long as the ballpark has been there, and I've always wanted to go in there and go eat, because they said that it's it's like a 4-star type joint and whatnot. I've never gone in and checked that out though. Maybe we need to after all this crap clears up, do like a meet and greet or something.
We'll have an Arizona
Yeah.
Carl get together, because there's like me, you, Johnny. We have a couple of my buddies, like my buddy Luis, who lives in Tucson. I know he'd be willing to go up. My friend Ralph, who lives here, he might go if he could get the time off or whatever. Then there's Marco Renteria. He's in Phoenix. You know, I think he's like in Chandler, so it would be like a 2-minute drive for him. So that I know, like when I went to the meetup in Scottsdale, there was a gang of people. I think Dr. Ed was there. So if we could,
isn't one of the Dr. Tims? Isn't he like a doctor in Chandler or Awatuki?
I know Dr. Ed is. I'm not sure where Dr. Tim.
Okay, I think there was another one too, but yeah, him, and then Fred and I are up here. There's a dude in Snowflake, Dennis Stearns. He's a firefighter I think he lives in Snowflake or Taylor or somewhere in that area. There's a few of us up here, but not very many. There's a dude in Kingman that listens and does stuff. So yeah, we'll have to try and go hit a ball game or something.
Well, we'll get leather vests, and we'll be the Arizona chapter of
Arizona
Covino and Rich.
chapter.
Yeah, we'll be sons of Covino and Rich, sons of Carls,
sons of Carls.
So cool, man. Well, I appreciate you actually taking your time out to do this.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I know we've chatted a lot back and forth, and it's nice. Kind of sometimes you hear something and you want to oh man, did you hear this or did you hear that? And it kind of sucks because you have no one to like chat with it about sometimes and whatnot. So
yeah, but no, and I appreciate it, man, and we could definitely do this again.
Just let me know when. I'm down to talk. Anything. I can always make a conversation out of anything. So I'm always down. Right now it's easy because my schedule is pretty predictable. But once I go back to work, it just whenever, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And, that's one thing that that I was telling El Cucuy, I think last week, is that it trips me out how easy these conversations are, because we don't really know each other. We've texted here and there, messages on Facebook. Yeah. So it's been really easy, and I appreciate it. And yeah, man, well, definitely.
I like the idea that you did with the show and what you and Johnny did. And I was kind of bummed, when things got, busy for him and stuff, that you guys just couldn't do it anymore. Because I really liked the content you guys put out, and the conversations, like, when you had Joey on, El Cucuy, I like, he's interesting to listen to and stuff. And, it's a good show. It's a good concept. And I think you do a good job, of steering the conversation and stuff, and got a good thing going.
Well, I appreciate it. And yeah, definitely, hopefully honestly, I think it would be cool if me and Jonathan can coordinate and do this again with him and I, because that's honestly it's cool when we're sitting there, we're in person, and we can, and since we've known each other since we were in second grade,
and so, there's a mystery there. You can tell
there's that. It's just it's so easy for us. And so we'll do. I'm sure we're gonna be there again one day, just not right now. And that's why I didn't want to really rebrand it as far as like the after show with only Daniel. I wanted to keep it the after show with Johnny and D, because I do see in the future,
I don't think there's any problem, and I don't think you need to rebrand anything. Just keep rolling with the way you are, and if you got to have a guest on here and there to kind of put content out, there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what everyone else does. So,
well, man, well, I appreciate it, and I really appreciate you joining me, man.
Hey, good deal. Thanks, Danny.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, have a good one, man.
You too. Later.